So, this episode is about probably the strangest event in the production of Tremors. I've been wondering when to do it, but now it's become sadly appropriate because it features Jim Brubaker, who just passed away at the age of 85. I've mentioned him before back in episode 12. He was a Universal executive, originally sent to location to make sure we weren't screwing up. But Jim had done pretty much everything in the film business by then, starting as a literal tough guy teamster driving horses to John Wayne movies. He worked on and was later producer on many other films and eventually became head of production at Universal. So he quickly saw that we did know what we were doing and became one of our biggest supporters at the studio, among other things, getting them to pay for a much bigger second unit on which he literally became a crew member. In fact, one day, for some reason, he even took over the jobs of second unit assistant director and camera assistant.
Okay, you guys all set? Ready. Okay, here we go. Roll camera. Bill! Carl! Come! You want one more? Right away.
Anyway, the strange event happened while second unit was working at the electrical tower location. These shots are of second unit. But my dad shot some video of main unit there too, so this does seem like the place to put that. Now, main unit was there much earlier in production, the first few days, and back then Dad was still narrating his videos like he was doing a documentary, so I gotta leave some of that in.
At 6 o'clock this morning, April, 24th or 5th, we see the sun beginning to hit the tops of the Mount Whitney Range here. The roosters are crowing and the cows are mooing. April 26th, Wednesday, and we are on the location to film the tower shot, right near Olancha. And there's the prop for the tower shot.
Yes, we had to build a fake tower beside the real one because the power company would not let any movie person, not even a stunt person, climb the real tower. When you see Val on it in the wide shots, it's actually a power company employee in Kevin Bacon's costume.
And there's a real tower. There is the guy.
It was even power company people who put the dummy of Edgar up on the real tower.
Looks pretty dead.
And this is kind of fun. Dad got a fairly rare glimpse of both of our two Jeep Gladiators together. And finally, he also got a shot of the actual Kevin Bacon doing one of the takes on the prop tower. Now, to the fateful second unit day, much later in June. We were doing what we always did, picking up little short shots that Ron and the editor felt we needed.
What happened is the Jeep would be coming down the road. It'd start to pull over right beside the tower.
1989, and Steve and Virgil are setting up their shots.
So the camera got set up on the side of the road, and we're about to do what we call a simple drive-by with the Jeep. But keep your eye on assistant director John Woodward on the right side of frame. He sees something coming, and he starts to run. I have to freeze here because Dad saw what John saw and stopped shooting. A massive tow truck came screaming down the road, veered off, and headed directly toward them. It skidded to a stop just before hitting the camera crew. A bit later, Dad shot this.
Skid marks for about 30 or 40 or 50 feet here in this truck in which he almost ran down the camera.
As Virgil later said, that guy stopped about 2 feet from my butt. Well, the driver leapt out, obviously furious, and began shouting he was a local landowner, we were trespassers, and to get off the shoulder of the highway. Amazingly, despite the fact that he did seem dangerous, Dad went ahead and shot some of his tirade.
Right here on the street. Get out in the street. All your vehicles, everything. Get out in the street.
We'll do it right now. All right, fine. Guys, move the camera into the street and move the vehicle. Move all the trucks in the street. Good.
Fucking Jews come up from fucking LA.
There isn't much video, so I have to freeze again to fill in. When you shoot on a public street or highway, you usually have police or highway patrol on set. It's partly to help with traffic, but also to make sure you don't do things not covered by your permit. On this day, our assigned officer was late, so you may have seen Brubaker immediately took charge and meekly went along with this guy.
Get out in the street. We'll do it right now. All right, fine. Guys, move the camera into the street and move the vehicle. Move all the trucks into the street.
In fact, he was just stalling because he knew law enforcement would arrive in a minute, and she did. And given the situation, she called backup. And then Brubaker went ballistic, and Dad kept shooting.
I want to file a complaint, a legal complaint right now. As a citizen arrest, I want to file it immediately.
You've got it.
Okay?
You've got that. You've got that. I've got the sheriff's department coming
Okay,
right
I
now.
want you to understand that
I
my prerogative.
You've got that coming. I've already,
Okay,
you heard me
fine.
call on the radio.
I have 30 people who saw what went on.
Okay, there's no problem with that.
I want a citizen's arrest immediately.
You got it right now.
Couple more freeze frames. After Brubaker's tirade, the police explained to tow truck man he did not own the shoulder of the highway and was potentially in very big trouble. He was terrified. Luckily for him, Brubaker let him off after forcing him to go around and apologize to every single crew person. As he did so, he was literally in tears. Well, with that drama behind us, we went back to work with our more mundane issues, like Virgil arguing with John about how close the Jeep could come to camera.
I'm not looking for safe. I'm looking for where he can do it and get close to me.
Yeah, well, he's not a stunt man. Come on now, guys.
I know, but I can't see the guys in the
I
Jeep.
know, and I also don't want that clip because brakes may not work right. You know what I'm getting at?
As always, we compromised and finally shot our shots, and Dad shot his shots.
Very nice whiteout, but
We may have done other takes, but Dad shot only these two, and I guess a fitting punchline to this whole wacky story is they're not in the movie. So, time for me to say, see you next time. And hey, don't forget, my new book, Freddy Cats 2, is out. If you can get just 1 million of your friends to buy it, Hollywood just might make it into a movie.